What's up, guys? It's your boy, Talton Robertson, back at it again. And today I'm going to be covering over all the supplies that you could need to start your Amazon FBA business. So, without further ado, let's jump right into that. All right, guys. So you have started an Amazon FBA business, or you're at least trying to start one, and you're looking for the supplies that you need. So, for most of my supplies, I'm going to recommend using Amazon because you are selling on Amazon. Why not use Amazon to also get your supplies? If you're a Prime member, you can get them sometimes overnight or with 1 or 2 days shipping. And a lot of times you save money. Additionally, if you are an Amazon business customer, you're more likely to save on those type of supplies. So if you don't have an Amazon business account, once you create your business, you can then create an Amazon business account and buy at a reduced rate, usually when you buy in larger quantities. And so for some of the supplies, you may want that, but regardless of what account you have, or even you even have an Amazon account, I'm going to be going over all of the tools and supplies that you really need to be an Amazon seller, to ship stuff off, to get the work done. And so let's go over these different tools. All right. Number one, the number one tool that you really need at the very least is a tape gun. Um, you might could use a tape gun somewhere else, but regardless, people just don't give you tape. You're gonna have to go buy tape, guys. And so tape is another thing. You need a tape gun and tape. And so I'm gonna give you the different kinds of tape guns I've got. I've got two in particular. This one is my favorite. It's the 3 inch. This is a Tape King brand, and I'm going to be leaving links for every item that I'm showcasing in today's video in the description. You don't have to use my links to purchase it, but if you do, I'll get a small kickback, and that will help my channel make more content. And so I would appreciate it if you guys did that. But tape gun, 3 inch tape. This is the best tape gun that you can get, a 3 inch tape gun. It doesn't have to be this brand, Tape King, but if you go with a 3 inch, if you're shipping into Amazon FBA, you want to make sure that your packages are secure. And so the 3 inch is just going to provide a lot more hold than your standard 2 inch. However, you may not think you need that. You may not use a lot of tape or whatever the case is. Maybe you don't want to order that much. You're just starting out. You just want enough tape to get your first box done. No worries there. This is my second favorite tape gun. I really like how this one has the handle. It's cushioned. The other one doesn't have a cushioned handle. And so I do like the cushioned handle. It's just got a nicer, better grip. But it's a 2 inch tape gun. Now this one is the Scotch Tape brand. And, these are all right. Nothing wrong with them. It's a good 2 inch tape gun. Uh, for the most part, I've got three of these, so they work. They're good. But once you change from a 2 inch tape to a 3 inch tape, you really don't use a 2 inch tape as much. But I do use the 2 inch tape still for smaller packages that I merchant fulfill. And so you may want to have both. Not necessarily required. You could go with one or the other, or you could get both. But the number one tool here is a tape gun. You're going to use this to tape all of your boxes and all of your packages. And it is a must when starting Amazon. Number two on the list is a printer. And so there are many different types of printers out there. And to be honest, guys, if I could recommend them all, I would. I cannot recommend them all, but I can recommend three printers to you. And it's one for each and every purpose. Now, you can start out with a regular inkjet printer. And so currently I'm using the HP 5258, I believe that's the model number. It's a 5200 series HP printer. And there, like I said, there'll be a link in the description for one. But this is the printer that I use to print off packing slips. Now, you may not even use your packing slips for Amazon, but if you don't have a printer at all, you're going to want to at least get an inkjet printer to get you started. That would be my first investment thing. If you don't have an inkjet printer, go straight with inkjet. Get that first because you'll be able to be more versatile with that printer. Although the downside of using an inkjet printer is the cost of ink. You have to pay for ink. And so, as we get a little more advanced, you're going to want to upgrade your printers. And so, once you get that going and you want to upgrade to another printer, the second printer I would recommend getting would be the Rollo. And so, the Rollo is a thermal printer and it can print shipping labels. Not only that, you could also use it for your FNSKU labels. Now, I personally only use my Rollo for shipping labels. And there's a reason for that. One of the reasons is that I don't want to have to constantly change out labels. And so I use a different label printer for my FNSKU labels. And so that's how I do it, guys. You don't have to do it exactly like me. I'm just sharing what I use and hopefully it'll help you along the way. So I personally only use my Rollo for printing shipping labels. And then for my FNSKU labels, I am actually using a Dymo uh, Turbo, the Label Writer 450 Turbo. And so I'm not going to say Dymo is at the top of my list as far as printers go because they're not really the best as far as a company goes. And they really charge their customers more because you have to use their labels with their products in order for their products to work. And so I'm not necessarily recommending this as the best one to get, but I did want to mention it because I do use it and it works great. Uh, the price for labels is more expensive, but at the same time, I don't mind paying it because it would be too costly for me to just go out and get another printer. And 3 cents a label, that's not terrible, but you could get that price down by using different labels from a different manufacturer if you've got a printer that can print it. And so, really, if I went over and had to do it all over again, I would have two Rollos. No questions asked. I would do two Rollos with an inkjet, and then that way you have all the printers you need. You would never have to change your labels for your FNSKU or your shipping labels, and you would have an inkjet printer to print any type of paper, invoice, or packing slip that you may need to print. And so when it comes to printers, there's a lot of different things out there, but in the world of Amazon, the Rollo has been the king when it comes to shipping labels. It's just one of the more popular and newer designed printers that is really simplistic. So, out of everything you got for the printer section, Rollo is by far the most recommended one that I could tell you to get. But like I said, start out with an inkjet. That's going to be the first one that would really get the ball rolling because you can print shipping labels and invoices and print all sorts of things. It's a good tool to start out with before you get a shipping label printer. Number 3, we're going to be talking about shipping labels. And so right here on Amazon, you can see that we have these Avery 5160 Easy Pill address labels. And so these are 30 up labels. I don't know why they call them 30 up, but there's 30 per page. So something to do with that. Well, these are going to be needed if you have an inkjet printer and you are shipping to Amazon and you are trying to not pay a lot of money for them to label your items. And so you can label your own items with an FNSKU and you can print it using these with a regular inkjet printer. And so this is how I started out, guys. I would just buy a whole pack of these. We would print 30 off at a time. So all of my batches were actually in books of 30. I would put 30 books in a box, print out 30 barcodes and that would be it, and I would send it in. So this would be where I would tell you to start out at. Additionally, you're going to want to take a look at these ones, the Avery printable shipping labels. And so these, you get 2 per sheet, and so you can print off your shipping labels, and these are really great for your Amazon shipping labels, because you're going to get your one label for, you know, UPS or whatever for shipping, and then you'll get a FBA label for your box, and so you're able to use the whole sheet effectively and label it very easily. You don't have to break out the tape or anything. So those will be the first 2 if you have an inkjet printer. Those would be the products to order, and that's going to help you save some time and some money. So don't be afraid to get those. Now, if you have already upgraded to a thermal printer, like a Rollo, then you can just get the Rollo branded labels. That's what I typically buy. Now, it does cost you 4 cents a label. You may, you know, not want to spend 4 cents a label. I'm okay spending the 4 cents a label. It's not that big of a deal. But there is a cheat code to getting cheap labels. You can order labels directly from the UPS if you have an account with them, and it doesn't cost you anything. And so I haven't had much luck doing that. I have looked for the labels on there. I found them, but they're never in stock when I go to find them. So I just order them from Amazon. They're always in stock when I order them there, even though they cost me $20 for 1,000 or 500, whatever. Either way, I like the Rollo labels. They work well. Haven't had a problem with them. And lastly, if you have a Dymo, and so this only applies to people with Dymos, and this is going to be a real gem if you have a Dymo. A lot of times when you use a Dymo, it will jam and you will have problems, and there's a lot of bad things that come with Rollo. However, it has to do a lot with the actual roll that you're using. And so I have found out that if you go with a roll that is horizontal versus vertical printing, when you place it inside of the Dymo, you're going to get a better printing result. And so for the best experience printing with a Dymo, these are going to be the labels that you want to go with. It's the 3034. They are medium. They're technically medium-sized labels, multi-purpose medium-sized labels. Great for FBAs, FNSQs. They really are. And so I buy 1,000 of these every time, and they are great if you have a Rollo. Now, if you don't, or sorry, a Dymo. If you have a Dymo, they're great. Now, if you don't have a Dymo, do not get these labels, because it does not matter. If you have a Rollo, just get whatever kind of FNSQ labels that you can use. They have different size address labels. I would just go with some kind of standard address size label or barcode label for a Rollo if that's what you have. But if you have the Dymo, by far these are going to be the labels that are going to be the best, because I've used several different sizes and nothing compares to the printing experience using these. So just to give you just a little recap, I used to have different labels. I think I had the 30336, which is slightly different. It's more like the address size label, and it prints vertically. And so instead of you getting the barcode come out and, you know, it's the long ways, it would be the short ways, and it would come out longer out of the printer. And anyways, when you rip it, a lot of times it would cause it to move, because the space on the inside of the Dymo can adjust to different size labels, but it's not really that accurate on those labels that are put vertically, so that they're smaller. You don't have that space enclosed, and so it gets off track and it causes it to jam, and it will cause you nightmares, because it will jam over and over and over, and you're just trying to figure out why you can't get this stuff to print. And it's literally just the labels. Get these labels, you won't have that problem. That is my pro Amazon selling tip that I could give you if you got a Dymo. And that's it for the labels, guys. Those are the ones I recommend. Number 4 on my list is a scale, a postal scale. And so this is the one I'm currently using. This is not the best one you can get, but it works. And so I paid like $20 for this one, and I got it at Sam's Club. But I do have friends that have the Accutech, and so that's going to be the one that I'll leave in the description. Basically, you just need a scale that will handle, an up to 50 pounds essentially, and that's pretty accurate. And so the Accutech would be the one that I would go with. If you've got a Sam's Club, you can go pick this one up for $20. It's not bad. But if I could go back, I would just go ahead and get the Accutech. Number 6, and this may be a little shocking for a supply that you actually need, but it's really essential. Tape measure. Doesn't matter what kind of tape measure you use. This is just one that I had in a toolbox from when I was a kid, and it works. It's what I use. So I'll leave a link for some tape measure. I don't know which one it'll be, but I'll leave a link for one that'll work. You don't need a very long one. You just need something that'll get the job done. Also, if you're finding value in this video, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. That would be awesome, guys. Up next on my list is going to be a barcode scanner. And so I've got this one right here. This is just the Opticon. This is a pretty good scanner. It's a high dollar scanner. Not necessarily the one that I'm going to recommend. I will leave a link for this one if you do want the Opticon. It is a great looking scanner, and it's pretty good. It's lasted me quite some time. I mean, I've been selling books for 3 years, and this right here is held up through time. So the time of test, it passes, but you may not want necessarily one of those. You may want a standing barcode scanner for your desk so that you can scan items into Amazon. Or you may want one of these because this one's very versatile. Now, I personally have like 4 scanners. I've got one on my desk that's motion censored. I will leave one similar to that in the links below. But I will also leave the ones that I recommend as far as Bluetooth barcode scanners go. And so you're able to hook these up via Bluetooth, and you can scan things into Amazon, or you can use it to scan barcodes into an app like Scoutly or Scout IQ, or maybe you've got Scoutify or whatever. You can use a barcode scanner to increase your productivity. And so this is actually one of my most used tools, even though it's not the highest on the list. This is one of my most used tools because I primarily focus on selling books. And I do sell other things. I do, some online arbitrage, some retail arbitrage, and a little bit of wholesale. However, the books is by far the most profitable aspect of my business. And so I try to focus more on that. So barcode scanner, especially if you're doing any type of media where you're out scouting, you're sourcing, and you're trying to find items to sell, this can really speed up your time. All right, number 8, and this is going to be the final item on my list, but it's pretty simple, guys. You need stuff to ship your items in. And so if you're shipping to Amazon FBA, you are probably going to want to go with just some regular boxes. Now I've got this one right here. This is a little small for FBA, but this is great for merchant fulfilled. I got these from Walmart, and bubble mailers are also really great for merchant fulfilled. So these are mostly merchant fulfilled items right here to use. But if you're doing Amazon FBA, I would recommend going with a slightly bigger box. The ones that I like to get are the Lowe's or the Home Depot boxes, or even the Walmart boxes. I personally like the Lowe's ones because they have the 12, 12, 16. So it's 16 long, 12 inches wide, and 12 inches tall. And so that's what I use for shipping books into Amazon. But I do use other size boxes to ship stuff to Amazon. It just depends. Some of the main things you want to note when buying boxes is that you want to make sure that it's within Amazon size requirements. So no side over 25 inches. And that's pretty much it. That's all the supplies that you really need to get started. If you got everything on this list, then you are well on your way to selling on Amazon or becoming a better seller on Amazon.